Page 4. Sanje Judo Zoge Junam No Janju Bado Dane Gyamso Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Dola Benjir Sanje Dubara Jo Sanje Judo Zoge Chonam Chanju Bado Dane Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Dola Benjir Sanje Dubara Jo Sanje Judo Zoge Chonam Chanju Bado Dane Gyamso I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Essence of dependent origin mantra. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham dathagato yavatat Tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat Tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha Om hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat Tesham chayo nirodha evam bhati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Okay, in fact, since that we have only 2 sessions today, afternoon we're going to go to visit the school and the nunnery. Today I'm thinking of doing, but first we'll cover a little bit of this few verses from the main text, and also I'm thinking of introducing a little bit on emptiness, what emptiness is. This is extremely precious. Okay, so with this in mind, let us turn to page 144, verse number 17, and the small booklet. Which page is it? The Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhisattvas, page 144, and small booklet 91, verse number 17. Small booklet, verse number 17. Okay. So what we said thus far is that finally for us to say in a technical sense or in a secular sense to minimize our miseries and to maximize our happiness, for this we require to do 2 things. One is when you cultivate the wisdom, and the other when you cultivate the compassion, the method and the wisdom. And for the method side, the generosity, ethical discipline, compassion, bodhicitta, all these things come under the method side. But of these, the most important thing is the bodhicitta, the desire, compassionate mind, compassionate altruism, the compassionate mind, wishing to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. This is bodhicitta. And on a daily basis, if you can wholeheartedly say this, not just in words, I go for refuge to Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Instead of that, if you can actually feel that that will be very beneficial. And now what we also said is that to cultivate this unconditional love, towards all the beings, it's not that easy. It's not that, okay, just feel good towards others. It's not that easy. To say it's very easy, but practice is very difficult. So because of this, we really need to go into systematic studies. And let me share with you one anecdote which I fondly remember when I was from my school days. I must be class 9, which means I was 15 or 16. And my teacher, maths teacher, by the way, I was so fond of maths, mathematics, and physics while in school. Particularly class 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 years, I was extremely fond of physics, particularly physics. Mathematics, I can do it easily, so therefore I don't find it problematic. It's not that I particularly like it, but physics I like it. I like this subject a lot. And my maths teacher, one day, what he said, he shared his own anecdote. What he said was that once his car, that was many years ago when all these young Anilas, they were not born, and even maybe Chahat also not born. He also not born, and the Avinash also not born. Many of you are not born then. It must be how many years ago now? Almost 40 years ago. Yeah, many of you are not born. Hansel is not born. So what happened was that this man's teacher, he shared an anecdote. His car broke down. And don't think that it's just a story. There's a message behind. When you remember the message, if you forget the message, the point is defeated. And his car broke down. And he took the car to a mechanic. And the mechanic, he just opened the bonnet and then he looked around and took his hammer and banged the car 3 times. And then he started the car. The car worked perfectly well. And my teacher asked, how should I pay you? How much should I pay? He said, in those days, today like 100 rupees is today's 10,000 rupees. Which means 300 rupees is today 30,000 rupees. So the mechanic said, 30,000 rupees. Hit the car 3 times. And the car worked. And I asked, how much should I pay you? 30,000. He said, no, why should I pay you 30,000? 30,000 is huge amount or small amount? Huge amount for somebody banking with 3 times. He said, no, you just banked 3 times and you ask for 30,000. We hit the car with the hammer 3 times and then we ask him 30,000. It's very expensive. He said, no, I did not charge you for hitting. Hitting is free. I charge you for where to hit. You don't know where to hit. I know where to hit. I'm charging you for that. I'm not charging you for my hitting it. I'm charging you for me knowing where to hit. So likewise, say compassion, practice compassion, we need to know how to practice. Just by saying that, be kind, this doesn't work. Because verbally is so easy. We can say, be kind. But in the actual event of somebody abusing you, you're in a difficult situation, then you lose your temper, your compassion is gone. So therefore, we need to really know how to practice compassion to the extent that no matter what external factors you meet with, your compassion doesn't disappear. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I'm sure the elders, many of you have heard His Holiness, that was sharing these anecdotes in those days when His Holiness used to teach give a lot of teachings. One time, His Holiness was sharing an anecdote of one monk from Nanyal Monastery who was in the Chinese prison for like 18 years. And then finally, when he was released and he escaped to India, he met His Holiness, and then His Holiness was just consoling him. And this monk reported to His Holiness that while I was in prison, I faced three dangers. And His Holiness was very concerned. Danger to life? He said, no, Your Holiness. Danger of losing compassion against the Chinese. Danger of losing compassion towards the Chinese. So His Holiness tell the world, this monk feels that losing compassion to your enemies is considered as a danger. He wants to practice compassion towards the enemies. This is the greatness of this monk. So the idea is that only if we practice how to practice this so well, then at times where you can easily give into anger, your practice of compassion can still be strong with you, and that you will not succumb to anger, and because of which you will not accumulate negative karmas, because of which your sufferings will come to an end. This is amazing practice. Okay, so to practice compassion, there are two methods. Broadly speaking, there are two methods. Dashinyam Gunde Mengadun and Dashinyam Jet. These two methods. The sevenfold cause effect method and the method for equalizing exchanges for self for others. And for NDC, we're halfway through, or we completed. NDC, anybody from NDC? NDC 5, no one. NDC 5, we finished. So Abhinash is catching up. Yes. So I don't think we finished the first method. Second method we finished. The first method, I think we finished. Okay. No one from NDC. Abhinash is catching up, and the Yongla. Finished, not finished. Bodhicitta. Are you sure? From my faint recollection, I feel that I've finished. Okay, it doesn't matter. So what I'm saying is that for the practice of bodhicitta, there are these two methods. So these two methods are to create the conducive factors for you to generate bodhicitta. Meanwhile, we should take care to get rid of the non-conducive factors. Like, what are the opposite factors of compassion? What are the opposite factors of compassion? Anger, ego, yes, okay. So Anilas, they are amazing. Okay, so they are very young, still they remember so clearly. Anger, primarily anger and ego. And these two are given the force by self-centered attitude. Anger and ego given force to by self-centered attitude and self-grasping ignorance. Okay, let us say this once more. Immediate cause of these to disrupt your compassion is anger and ego. And these two are given force by self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. These two things. So, this is so important now. If we come to say, first of all, what is dharma? If I were to tell you, say, in very simple terms, what is dharma? Anything that you practice to make your self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude, or let's say, a practice to identify and minimize. Identify and minimize self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. This is dharma. So dharma, there are so many ways of understanding dharma. Dharma of realization, dharma of cessation. They're very sophisticated level. But in simple terms, dharma is a practice to help us identify and mitigate. Mitigate meaning to minimize, to make it less powerful, less forceful. Let me say this once more. A practice to help us, practice to identify and mitigate the power of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. That is dharma. A practice to identify and mitigate the power of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. This is dharma. If you can say this in future, if somebody asks you, what is dharma? What is Buddha dharma? You can say a practice to identify and mitigate the power of self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude. You say this, you can be very confident, right? And some people who learn it, they will say, yes, this is true. Some people who not learn it, they may say, no, dharma is dharma of realization, dharma of cessation. So, let's see. When you realize, identify meaning realize. You realize that self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude, these are to be eradicated. When you realize this, dharma of realization. With this realization, you mitigate it, remove them, remove the power of these two things. This is a cessation of self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude. So here also we see the dharma of realization and dharma of cessation. Both are there. Can you hear me better now? With less ego. Less ego or echo? Echo. Okay. Okay, good. So with this in mind, and now what we need to do is that we need to mitigate the power of the ego and the anger. So the author, Geshe Sambo, is helping us identify what kind of situations will arise, what kind of situations will be there for you that your anger and ego can potentially arise in us. It is common to all of us. In the first place, we don't identify self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude. We don't identify anger, ego. We don't identify. When we are very gross, then we identify, and it's too late. So therefore, they say, what are the situations? We identify them, and then when these situations arise, be very careful to remember what the great teacher, the Geshe Sambo, taught. Remember this, and then try to apply in the real life. Okay, so verse number 17. Even when someone who is your equal or inferior, say, there are situations where some people who are equal to you, they tend to, compete with you. Inferior to you, they tend to be jealous of you. And superior to you, tend to look down upon you. And then when these things happen, when somebody competes with you, your ego can goes up. You're angry. Your junior, those who are inferior to you, they are jealous. They're jealous of you. You're being angry. Those who are superior to you, they look down upon you. You're very angry. So these are situations where our anger and ego can arise. So under such a situation, what should we do? So this is the practice given here. The first, verse 17 is when somebody who's equal to you and somebody who's inferior to you, when they try to be jealous of you and when they try to compete with you, what is your thoughts? Even when someone who is your equal or inferior and driven by arrogance seeks to disparage you meaning to, hey, what is disparage? The Migjay, put you down, to pull you down, to disparage you, to deprecate you, to place them on your crown of your head. With the same respect as you would accord to your guru is a practice for bodhisattva. Okay, so why do we, for example, we respect His Holiness the Dalai Lama as a guru? Why we respect His Holiness? Why we respect our guru, His Holiness? Why? Anyone? Why? Yes. He teaches us he teaches us by encouraging us out of compassion to lift us up from suffering to the place of joy and happiness, peace of mind. Hansla? Mike, Hansla.
I think he shows us a practical way of putting the Dharma into practice.
So he shows the path to practice the Dharma. Okay, how many agree with Lumla and Hansla? We all agree. Okay, this is the meaning of the Guru. Now, these people, say the people who are inferior, who are equal, who are competitive with you, they are actually helping us to show the path. Because, say your equal is competitive, and then your anger arises. So, your anger, when other people are there, who are very nice to you, you will not feel the anger, and you think that you are a good practitioner. When your enemy comes, or you're the equal, somebody is very rival, your rival comes, and then your anger arises. Then you say, okay, I'm still not my Dharma practice is so low. You identify that. So he actually helps us to identify your weakness. And so therefore, this is the job of the teacher, to identify your weakness and then help you remove the weakness. This is the job of the teacher. Yes? You agree? Okay. In your school, how many of you had the experience of problem solving in maths? Maths? Problem 1, problem 2, problem 3. Raise hands. Yes. What is problem? Why should the teacher create problem on you? Is giving you problems, then you learn how to solve the problem. So these people who make you feel angry, they help you identify the anger. With this, then you sort out to remove the anger. That is your journey. So these are the people who really takes you to the journey. You getting it? Okay. So how many of you know Muhammad Ali? Young ones, they don't know. Hey, Jihad, you know Muhammad Ali? You know. And the young Malay? You don't know. Too young. Muhammad Ali is the old age, old story, my generation. So, Tushar, you know? Are you sure? Who is he? Not a boxer. A legendary boxer. Look, these young people. For them, Muhammad Ali means nothing, a boxer. But for the older ones, it's a legendary boxer. You're getting it? And just imagine, if you are a boxer, would you want to be an average boxer or a legendary boxer? If you want to be a legendary boxer, then don't take your mother as your coach. Don't take your mother as your coach. If you take your mother as your coach, you will never become a legendary boxer, because your mother will never give you hard punches. She will give you like this punch. This punch, you can easily stop, and you will never learn how to stop the hard punches. If you don't learn how to stop the hard punches, you can never rise to the level of the legendary boxer level. You will never rise there. So you say, who can make you a legendary boxer? Somebody who can give you hard punches. These are the people who can make you a legendary boxers. So therefore, say the people who are competitive with you, people who are jealous of you, people who look down upon you, these people help you to really rise above, to go to enlightenment. They are so precious, they are like the gurus, your true teachers. So therefore, realizing that, wow, this is so precious. Finally, even if somebody abuses you, look, when somebody abuses you, you feel sad, you feel angry. How many agree with me? Raise hands. When somebody abuses you, you feel sad and angry. Okay. Whereas, which is better? Somebody abuses you and you should feel sad, angry, and so unhappy, versus somebody abuses you and your mind is not affected. This is like you give a damn to this. Give a damn. Who cares? Right? So, of the two, which would you be more happy? The first one, where you become so angry, sad, not sleeping, always think about this person, and the other one, you will have a nice sleep, right? Who cares? This is his or her own stupidity, right? Who cares? Just ignore this, and you have a nice sound sleep. You eat food, food is very delicious. Sound sleep, sound sleep. Which is better, the first or second? Second, we all have that capacity to do that. But why we are not doing that? Why do we do the first one? Because of self-grasping, ignorance, and self-centered attitude, giving rise to ego and anger. So ego and anger are the real enemies, which really trigger this sadness, anger, unhappiness, is because of the ego and the anger, which in turn are triggered by the mastermind, masterminded by self-grasping, ignorance, and self-centered attitude. Therefore, you keep contemplating on these points, and over time, whenever there is unhappiness coming in you, a little bit of sadness, unhappiness, okay, winter, foggy, yes? Hey, young in-laws, winter, very foggy, cold, 4:30, no, right? Can I sleep another 10 minutes, right? Okay, do you feel that? The winters, very cold outside. Okay, so there, then you feel very low, everything's so quiet, so cold. When I was in England, in the month of November, everything becomes dark by 3 p.m. Already dark. And very cold, foggy, and drizzle, so quiet. And the trees also like this, and you also like this, and you don't hear any sound, so sad. This happens to us. When that happens, that this unhappiness is because external factor, very gloomy weather, cold, quiet. Internal factor, self-grasping, ignorance, and self-centered attitude. These two things are there, give rise to the sadness, gloomy, hollow, lonely. When these two things are not there, even if the weather is so cold, wow, so pleasant, in Delhi we don't have this. So cold, in Delhi, we never get these kind of feelings. In the winter, yes. In the winter. Otherwise, in the winter, but not like minus. Here, minus? In the winter. Hey, Chorokandela. -5. In Delhi, never. It's amazing. Right? We are very fortunate to have the minus. And look at the air, so fresh. In Delhi, air so polluted. We are so fortunate. So look. You just change your perspective, change your discrimination, and the feeling changes. You change your discrimination, and the feeling changes. It simply uplifts you. In other words, what I'm saying is that whenever there's any feeling of uneasiness, sadness, or say the pain or unhappiness happening, there is the action of the self-grasping, ignorant, self-centered attitude there. So, if you're able to identify that, the moment, look, this is one thing. The moment you feel little unhappiness, then you identify, again, the self-centered attitude is coming in me. Again, the self-centered attitude is coming in me. When you identify that, instantly the heaviness will disappear. That's amazing. You don't blame outside. Blame your self-centered attitude. But don't blame yourself. Oh no, I'm very selfish. Look at, I'm feeling the pain. So there's he said, there's selfishness there. I'm so selfish. No, never ever blame yourself. You are very precious. Each one of you, each one of us, we are so precious. What is bad is a self-centered attitude within us is bad. Remove this, and this self, you as a person, will become enlightened to benefit all the beings. You are so precious. Self-centered attitude is the demon. Separate yourself from the self-centered attitude. Remove the self-centered attitude, and your miseries stop. So anybody, when the pain happens, unhappiness happens, the blame goes to outside factor, external factor. This is an unwise person. When the unhappiness comes, the blame goes to your self-centered attitude. You are the wise person, because the moment you feel that, again my self-centered attitude is acting on me, instantly this heaviness will disappear. This is amazing. You'll feel light. Then through your own experience, you come to know that, wow, all beings are like small children. They're suffering terrible, all because of the self-centered attitude. Look at my own self. How I feel so happy when when I'm able to at least identify self-centered attitude as a culprit of my uneasiness, the pain, the sadness. So one day, there was a young man, and who's actually studying Dharma. He called me up, and he said that now that my holiday at my parents' home is coming to an end, and I feel so heavy and sad. Whenever I leave my parents' home, I feel so low, so sad. Then I told him that, are you really feeling sad? He said, yes, it's very painful. I said, you're very lucky. He said, no, I'm not lucky. I feel so painful. It's very painful. It's not lucky. I said, you're very lucky. He said, then how? Believe it or not, in the olden times, now I don't know about today, but in the olden times, no doubt some practitioners from Tawang, from Arunachal, and say the people in Tibet, some practitioners, they deliberately leave their house to go to the Himalayas, to feel the pain, suffering. Only if you know the suffering so well, then you will put effort to remove the cause of suffering. With this, then you will be liberated. You're getting it? These are wise people. Without having the experience of the pain yourself, without experiencing the pain, what the pain is, then you cannot blame the self-centered attitude. If you don't blame the self-centered attitude will never go away from you. As long as self-centered attitude is there, you will never be freed of suffering. You will continue to suffer. So therefore, these people deliberately go to the Himalayas, leaving everything behind. So to feel this pain, and then see how the self-centered attitude is triggering this pain. The moment they're able to identify self-centered attitude, say a little bit hunger, thirst, and the cold, now the cold, I'm feeling so cold. Oh, look, again self-centered attitude coming. You identified that. Once you identified that, so this is how they gradually get into the self-centered attitude. Okay, so for that what I'm saying is that in order to identify the self-centered attitude, we have to these experiences of pains, they're very helpful for us. When you feel this pain, then think of how the self-centered attitude is contributing to this. The moment the pain is there, self-centered attitude is already acting on us. Okay, so one thing that I'll share with you is that how many of you now, from what you the classes that we did the last 3 days, say, all our miseries are immediate cause of the miseries is, immediate cause, there are 5 points. Miseries, immediate cause of the miseries is contaminated karmas. And immediate cause of contaminated karmas? In the immediate cause of contaminated karmas? Immediate cause of contaminated karmas? Oh, Sharmila ji, afflictions. Okay, Sharmila ji is saying that you have to do NDC, right? Okay, afflictions. And afflictions, immediate cause of afflictions is inappropriate attention. Very good. Immediate cause of inappropriate attention is self-grasping ignorance. Very good, okay. So this is how we need to know. So all our miseries, the immediate cause of all the miseries, the pain, suffering is contaminated karmas. Okay, now look, and who did the contaminated karmas? Right? Who did the contaminated karmas? I did it. In this life or in the former lives. I did it. No one to blame. Right? Some people, they said good things happen to you. You say it's upar. Right? Some people, these people are very good. Who deliberately try to get away from their ego. Because, oh, you're amazing, you do so good. Yes, this ego. So in fact, they give the credit to upar. Right? For some people, it's opposite. Something goes wrong, upar. You're getting it? That is terrible. No, it's not upar. It's your negative karma you did in the past. Your mischievousness, our negative karma. Negative karma. Now, how many negative karmas did we do in the past? Innumerable, a lot, infinite negative karmas. Okay, look, this is very important. This is very helpful for us to think. Say, the negative karmas, they are like the arrows. The negative karmas, they are like the arrows. These arrows, arrow of self-grasping, arrow created by self-grasping ignorance and shot by self-centered attitude. Let me put it again. All these contaminant karmas, they are like the arrows created by self-grasping ignorance and shot by self-centered attitude. These two are required, right? So if the self-grasping attitude doesn't create the arrow, then self-centered attitude cannot do anything. Even if the arrow is created, but if the self-centered attitude is not shooting it, nothing will happen. So arrow of negative karma is created by the self-grasping ignorance and shot by the self-centered attitude. How many such arrows are flying in the air now? There are millions of arrows flying in the air, right? Some of them are hitting now, right? Some of them are hitting now. Okay, how many of you have a little bit of nose blockage, cold, resistance? Myself, including myself. This morning was so bad. So even this is because of the arrow, one of the arrow shot. How many arrows are flying in the air? Millions of arrows are flying in the air. It can hit us any time. You're getting it? Let's not forget it. Let us not forget it. So there are innumerable arrows of contaminant karmas flying in the air. Say, we never know. Tomorrow I may have some pain. And then maybe I may be lifted. Okay, don't take this as bad or what inauspicious, bad omen. Don't take it like this. So say, tomorrow we never know. Tomorrow we are here to complete the class, right? Before completing the class, I may become sick. And then I may be airlifted to Shilagandila. Airlifted to which bigger hospital? Guwahati. Let's say Guwahati. Airlifted. And then who knows that, oh Kishila, I'm very sorry you are suffering from cancer. Who knows? We never know. Don't think it's an inauspicious thing. These things happen. It happened to so many people in the past. So therefore, the point is that the arrows are still in the air. And some people, so today very healthy, and the next day gone, died. We never know when these arrows will hit. We never know. How many such arrows are there? Innumerable arrows are there. It's very scary. And who created this? Who created the arrow? Self-grasping ignorance. Our self-grasping ignorance. And who shot the arrow? Self-centered attitude. Now, arrows are many of the arrows already hit us. Already hit us. How many shed tears in your life? Raise hands. Every time you shed tears, it's because one arrow hit you. You getting it, Parag? Arrow hit you? Yes. So last retreat, he did not know the arrow hit him. And this retreat, he came to realize that once upon a time he shed tears. Okay, arrow hit him. So the arrows are waiting there. Arrows are flying in the air still. Some of them are hitting now, some of them to hit us later. Like meteoroids, right? Meteoroids. What is meteoroid? What is meteoroid? Kamalji, what is meteoroid?
Difficult to explain.
Like rocks in the air, in the space. The rocks.
So it's like a heavenly, spacious planet, part of a heavenly body that passes very quickly through the air, like a shooting star.
Yes, it can hit the earth anytime. It can hit the earth anytime. Now with the advancement of science, they could detect, but still, so look at many places there are craters created. What do you call that? Craters created. What is the crater? It's just the asteroid, some solid rock from outside the planet. They hit the earth. So like this, it can happen anytime to us. You getting it? So because of this, now, even if the arrows hit you, even if the arrows are there to hit you, but if you put on a strong armor, arrow cannot affect you. Yes? Okay. What's the arrow? Arrow is self-centered, self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude. And armor should be opposite. What is the opposite of self-grasping ignorance? Hey, what's the opposite of self-grasping ignorance? The wisdom of emptiness should be. If you have the wisdom of emptiness, that's one armor. And what's the opposite of self-centered attitude? bodhicitta, compassion. If you have these bodhicitta, these are going to be the armor. With these two armors, then even the arrows they hit you, they drop. They cannot create pain on you. But this armor is removed from us. Armor of the bodhicitta is removed by the self-centered attitude. Armor of the wisdom of emptiness is removed by the self-grasping ignorance. So if the armor is removed, now what do? We become so vulnerable. Any time the arrow hits us, we die. We have the problems. Okay. So with this in mind, our job is to see how to stop the negative arrows of negative karmas. How not to shoot extra arrows. So how to stop that? How to stop shooting more arrows of negative karmas? How to stop that? By the wisdom of emptiness, stop creating the arrow. And by the bodhicitta, stop shooting the arrows. You're getting it? So with these two things, they will help us now and will help us in the future also. This is very precious. Okay. So for this, we need to have the experience what the pain is. You have the experience of pain, then you identify the self-grasping and the self-centered attitude as the root cause of these pains. Then you'll try to get rid of these two. Once these two are got rid of, your pain is gone completely. So all these teachings are given to help us to identify the self-grasping and the self-centered attitude under different situations. Next, verse number 18. 18 is, though gripped by acute poverty and constantly scorn meaning looked down upon by others, or say bad things about you by others, stricken with terrible illness, and possessed by evil spirits, to take upon yourself the negativities and suffering of every being. Say somebody stricken with the illness, terrible illness, possessed by evil spirits and so forth, you take these upon yourself, and to take upon yourself the negativities and suffering of every being, and never to get discouraged, is a practice of bodhisattva. So one practice of bodhisattva is to be resilient, to have the sense of the best word would be resilience. The part of the resilience. In Tibetan, it is known as dugru. Somebody who can bear the difficulties, who is not easily affected by the difficulties. This is the power of the resilience. The power of resilience. In Tibetan is known as dugru. Chulokandela, what is dugru? The resilience. In
Dukurnas is dugru. The one who can take pain. Dukurnas is dugru.
Oh, dukurna. Okay. The nuns, you understood? Oh, so this is the dugru. Okay. And one of the Bodhisattva's qualities is to never give up. When you do something good, never give up. Say simply because you encounter with difficulties, oh no, I cannot do this, I'm sorry, I'm going to quit. This is not how the Bodhisattvas do. Bodhisattvas build a very strong courage. No matter how difficult the path is, I'll never give up. This is one of the Bodhisattvas, greatest of the qualities of Bodhisattvas to be cultivated by us. And never to get discouraged is a practice of a Bodhisattva. 19. Though you may be famous, okay, now say that you are superior to others. Usually what happens when you're superior to others, there's the ego can come. So under such situations, what should you do? Though you may be famous and prominent, someone to whom others bow, others respect, though you amass riches like wealth, so, and you can be great in terms of your fame, in terms of your power, in terms of wealth, though you may amass riches like that, riches mean the wealth, like that of the God of wealth, to see that worldly splendor, worldly successes, they have no essence. And thus, to be without arrogance is the practice of a bodhisattva. Yes, I remember, okay, say one time, the There's one family who in the whole village is considered to be the wealthiest. And you just utter the name of this particular family. Everybody knows this family is so popular because of the wealth. And then what happened? The mother passed away, the father passed away, and then the lady and the husband divorced. And then they started to go into deep debt. Started to depend on loans. And then now impossible to pay the debt. They become extreme poor, truly like a beggar. In my own life, I've seen that. This is what is said here. To see the worldly splendor has no essence. Thus, to be without arrogance is the practice of a bodhisattva. So therefore, these are things that we need to remember when we have the wealth, the power, the beauty, or any of such things, good qualities. Then ordinary people tend to be arrogant, whereas those people who don't get arrogant, they are very evolved. You have wealth, but you're very humble. You have power, you're very humble. You are being respected by everybody, still you're very humble. This is the quality of your greatness. Okay, the next. If you have not pacified the enemy of your own anger, then now the discordant factors, what can potentially stop you from practice of compassion is the anger. It says, if you have not pacified the enemy of your anger, real enemy is your own anger. That is the real enemy. The external enemies, they are not the real enemy. Combating outer opponents, combating outer enemies or opponents will only make them multiply. Will make the outer enemies multiply in number. Therefore, with the army of loving kindness, how to combat the anger? Say, external enemy, internal enemy of anger. You put them together, then this sound of miseries erupt within you. So whereas external the enemies is countless, it'll never finish. It'll never finish. For example, in the olden times, I don't know whether it used to happen here in the Tawang or in Arunachal, but many places all over the world it happened in the olden times. Fight over the grazing land. Fight over the grazing land. You don't know that. Say two tribes. In those days, the whole land is open to both sides. And then one tribe, your cattle graze the land, and the other said, this is our land. Then they started killing each other. So the first group A kills one from group B. And group B again kills group A. Keeps killing like 50. It goes like for 100 years. Goes like this. A killing one from B. And now B, if you don't retaliate, you are seen as very weak. So you have to kill somebody from group A. And again, if the group A doesn't retaliate, again the group A is seen as very weak. They feel it's a big embarrassment. So they have to kill somebody from group A. So that's how killing happened. 50 years, 100 years, they keep killing each other. Extremely stupid, extremely unwise, so foolish. So whereas a wise person comes, look, what is a real wise person? If you kill somebody from the other side, this is a factor for your future generations, 50, 100 people to be killed by the other side. You are responsible for you killing one person from the other side. The other will also kill you. So the chain continues because of you did not contribute to stop it. So whereas a wise person, okay, now you killed our person. Okay, now this is what is happening all the time. So this is our lack of education. This is our ignorance. You don't want to die, we don't want to die. Now let's put an end to it. I'll not kill your side. Because now they are waiting. Somebody may be killed from their side. Somebody may be killed by the other side. Now you said, no, I'll not kill you. I'll not kill you, but henceforth, now we'll do like this. Okay, this land will divide into two. This is your side, this is my side. And the other person will be very happy. Because now they're not going to be killed by you. So, because you're not going to kill them, they will not kill you again. So now the future, 1, 5, 10, 100, 200, all these people, future will be killed. you protected them because of your wisdom. So this is how wise people can act to help your own community in the long run. Okay. So on the real enemy is not external enemy. The real enemy is your own anger. Instead of anger, if the compassion comes, instead of ignorance, if the wisdom comes, then all the killing will stop. So, 20. If you have not pacified the enemy of your own anger, combating outer opponents meaning enemies, combating meaning fighting with the outer enemies will only make them multiply. Outer enemies will keep multiplying because you are provoking them and then they tend to multiply. Therefore, now how to deal with the wise people will deal with the anger, enemy of the anger. How to do that? What's the opposite of anger? A loving kindness. Therefore, with the army of loving kindness and compassion, to tame your mind is a practice of a bodhisattva. Okay, so it doesn't mean that when somebody comes with anger to harm you, physically harm you, and okay, I have to deal with my anger. Yes, dealing with your anger is number one important thing. Meanwhile, physically, you have to take appropriate measure to stop that. It doesn't mean that you don't act. This is unwise. We have to act wisely. Make sure that external abuse doesn't happen. At the same time, you don't give rise to anger within you. Anger is the real enemy. Stop the anger and stop the physical abuse. And then you are not accumulating negative karma and the other person can feel your affection. In fact, let me share this story with you. How, say, when you really calm your anger, then that changes the other person's mind. What happened was that in a monastery, in a big monastery, very important monastery, amongst the monks, young monks, there was one young monk who is very rebellious. What is rebellious? Manjurji? Rebellious. Rebel. Yes. No, rebellious. To disregard rules, regulations, right? And to always have the attitude of, always challenging the authority. So being rebellious. So in the monastery, there was one young monk who was very rebellious. And the monastery's abbot, and the second highest abbot, the deputy abbot. And the deputy abbot used to have a difficult time with this naughty monk, young monk. And whatever the deputy abbot had the authority to discipline the monastery. And this young monk was always against, always trying to challenge the authority. And one day, so in the eyes of the deputy, if you are the deputy abbot, what do you think about this young monk who is notorious, who is very naughty? Or you think, you feel happy, not unhappy? Huh? Unhappy, happy. Unhappy. How many agree? Resents. When you see this, you say something, again he will not listen to you. Again he say something back to you, talk back to you. So you feel unhappy. So this was the deputy abbot. He always, when he sees this naughty monk, he was unhappy. One day the deputy abbot, he was hospitalized for cancer. And he had to go through surgery. For the surgery, he requires blood donation. And the disciplinarian, who was junior to the wise abbot, deputy abbot, made the announcement to all the monks. Okay, amongst the monks, anybody who is interested to give blood donation to the deputy abbot, please sign up, give your names to me. And the monks, they give the names. Then the blood donation was done. And the deputy abbot, he came out of the surgery. And the disciplinarian reported to the deputy abbot that, okay, so sir, venerable sir, and these foreign monks, they donate blood for you. for his surgery. And then the list was given. And in the list, first in the list was a naughty monk. First in the list. And the deputy abbot started to cry to see that although this looks a very rebellious, but heart is very beautiful heart. Look. So therefore the point is that say we can take measures, but not giving into anger. No anger. No excuse for to give rise to anger. This is what we have to do. If you stop the anger, you can take measures. Take whatever measures be taken, take measures to stop abuse or whatever things happening from the other side. You take the measures, but never ever give rise to anger. This is so important. Not easy, but we have to try. Okay. Let me read this once more. 20. If you have not pacified the enemy of your anger, combating outer opponents, combating or fighting with the outer enemies will only make these enemies multiply. Therefore, with the army, now the wise people, what they do is that with the army of loving kindness, not with the army of weapons, but with the army of the loving kindness and compassion, to tame your own mind is a practice of Bodhisattva. Okay. Okay, for the time being, temporarily, I will just pause here and we will do a little bit of introduction to emptiness. Okay. What is emptiness in Tibetan? Huh? Tongyi or Tongyi, oh, emptiness Tongbanyi. And wisdom of emptiness is Tongyi Toba Shirab. Okay, Tongyi Toba Shirab is the wisdom of emptiness. And Tongbanyi per se is emptiness. Emptiness, for example, say, my mind sees the flower. My mind sees the flower. The mind which sees the flower. So this mind is subject to object. Subject object. The flower is the object subject. Object. The mind which sees the flower is the object subject. Subject. Okay. So when we say emptiness, emptiness is the object. And the wisdom of emptiness is the subject. You're getting it? Wisdom of emptiness is the subject and the emptiness is the object of the wisdom. Now the question is, what is emptiness? This is so important. And for information, Buddha at the age of 35, he became enlightened. He became a Buddha. Prince Siddhartha, he became Buddha at the age of 35 under the Bodhi tree. And how many of you have been to Bodh Gaya? Raise hands. How many have never been to Bodh Gaya? Raise hands. How many of you have never been to Bodh Gaya? Okay, we must go to Bodh Gaya. We must. Okay. Under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha became enlightened. Became Buddha. Now, after being Buddha, Buddha, out of compassion, he is to give teachings to the people, to teach wisdom of emptiness. But on the contrary, Buddha remained silent. Buddha did not give any teachings for 49 days. For 49 days, no teaching was given by the Buddha, just sitting under the Bodhi tree, meditating, and then getting up, going to another place, again sitting there for meditation. Around the Bodh Gaya, Buddha was just doing like this for 49 days. Then, in the heaven, Indra, Brahma, the gods, kings of the gods and goddesses, Indra and Brahma, they, through their clairvoyance, Chulagandhar, what is clairvoyance in Munke? Ngunshe. Okay. Unless you know Ngunshe? You don't know Ngunshe. Okay, now Chulagandhar, how would you explain Ngunshe? Okay, means, okay, seems like this needs to be explained. Okay, Ngunshe or clairvoyance is the, say, your ability to see what's going in the mind of others, your ability to see what's going in America now, right now. You're getting it? Your ability to see what's going in the kitchen, what is prepared in the kitchen, what's going to be lunch, right? Even though you are not seeing it visibly, but you know what's going here, what's going in Itanagar now, what's going to what happened to your parents now. You're seeing all these things. This is known as clairvoyance or ngunshe. Okay. So Indra and Brahma, they have their ngunshe, they have their clairvoyance. With the clairvoyance, they see that on the planet Earth, in the human realm, there was Prince Siddhartha who became Buddha. And become Buddha means to give teachings, but Prince Siddhartha is not giving teachings. So two of them descended, came down on planet Earth, went to Bodh Gaya, paid respect to the Buddha, and Indra offered conch, a conch to blow the conch, the sound of, to make the sound of the dharma, to spread teachings. And Brahma offered a wheel symbolic of requesting Buddha to turn the wheel of dharma. And they requested that the Tathagata, the Buddha, please don't remain silent. Please give teachings, share the wisdom with all the beings, so the beings will be liberated from samsara. Then the Buddha uttered the verse which we read this morning. This is what the Buddha said. That profound, in English, profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, and clear light. Such is the nectar of the Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I'll retire into the woods. So the Buddha said that this path that I've discovered, the reality that I've discovered, is so profound that I hardly find anybody who can understand this. So better it is for me to stay in isolation in my own meditation. This is what the Buddha said. Again, Indra and Brahma made more requests to the Buddha, and finally the Buddha accepted to give teachings. Then the Buddha headed towards Varanasi. In Varanasi, the first Dharma happened. Okay. So, why the Buddha remained silent for 49 days is because of the teaching on emptiness. Emptiness concept is so profound that we cannot really understand it easily. So, this topic is what we're going to learn, and this is so precious for all of us, for you, for me, all of us. Even to talk about emptiness is so precious, because this is the only liberating path. This will help us to liberate from samsara. Otherwise, we'll constantly be in the dream, sucked up in the dream, believing things as objective real, in the dream of samsara. So, then there is another great teacher, Bodhisattva Arideva, in Tibetan, Lobin Pakpala, Geshe Pakpala. Bodhisattva Arideva, who is a student of Nagarjuna. What he said is that those with less merit, okay, in Tibetan, in English, those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this teaching. Should a doubt ever arise in this teaching on emptiness, will shatter samsara into pieces. This is what Bodhisattva Arideva taught. So therefore, we are extremely meritorious to meet with this teaching that we are discussing. I'm also very meritorious. You're also very meritorious to learn, collectively learn about what this emptiness is. It's so precious. And Bodhisattva suggests that we can't expect to get emptiness right here within like 1 or 2 sessions, but this is going to be like the seed planted, and then study more, contemplate more, and later on engage more extensive studies. Now all these programs are available. And all these programs are available, and in the Tawang, I don't know, the internet, the part of the internet. Good enough? Okay. So these courses, there are different courses made available in English. So now majority of the people, they have access to English. So you can do these courses. Of course, One is very systematically taught directly English, and the other thing is that it's highly, highly subsidized, and there are a huge number of the people who are doing the same course. Total under Tibet now. Kazuena, tanda. Course nigi. Oh. Tanda pardura. Current, there are like 3,000 students. Since 2016, there are about like 8,000 students. So what I'm saying is that there are so many people from all over the world taking this course, and why not? We also take this course, and for the monastics, it's totally free. For the monks and nuns, it's totally free. For the students, is the 75%, and the scholarship. And for the others, it's highly subsidized. It's just nothing. It costs nothing. It's highly, highly subsidized. What is the 1 year is like 5,000. 1,000, 5,000. For some people, for one day is 6,000. So for Tibet, for whole 1 year is 5,000. It's just nothing. It's very, very subsidized because because of the kindness of the Indian government that we get some small grant from the government, so which we run on that. So therefore, we don't put so much effort to collect money, collect the fees. No, because that His Holiness gave a very clear instruction that this center should be for the benefit of the people, not to gather money or whatever, not for conversion, not for money. So because of this, what I'm saying is that what we are standing here is going to be just planting the seed. And then it is our job to expand it further, that when you grow older, as you grow older, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, time flies. Time flies. Okay, the Sirondula, time flies? Particularly which part of the year time flew? Or the younger ones, you have to listen.
We don't know how time flies.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And the Dorji Andile, time flies around which year? When you were in 20s or you were in 30s or 40s? When did you feel the time flew so fast?
Time is flying every day. So it's continuously flying.
Exactly, yes. Is there anybody who particularly noticed which year it started to fly even more? Manjiriji? Okay, 40s. Manjiriji is 40s, then the time started to fly. Sharmilaji? 40s, okay. Mr. Singhji? Okay, Hansla? Okay. Oh, Davidla? Oh, in 60s? Okay, okay. Okay, the Ajay Jigmela?
I don't know exactly when I noticed time flying fast, but then I think it's a continuous process.
Okay, Kamalji? In 60s. Okay. Okay, and this Dubla? 21. Okay. So how many in your 20s raise hands? How many in your 20s do you see the time flying? Sneha? No. And Parag? After COVID, time flies so fast. Oh, okay. And then the Yola? Huh? Yeah, passing, that's the reality. How fast? Not so fast.
Childhood.
Huh?
Childhood times.
Oh, childhood, it flew so fast.
Yeah.
Okay, when you sense it when you were a child.
Yeah, I feel like
That's amazing. Okay, so Ajitamdila. 30s.
30 to 50.
Okay, yes. In fact, for me also it was like 30s. From 30s then the time started to fly, right? When I was teenager, like the age, time crawls. Time would crawl. Oh, when will I become big? When I'll become big? Time crawls. Then in your 20s, time walks. In 30s, time runs. In 40s, time leaps. Time lives. In 50s, time flies. Amazing. Wow. Oh. So once there was one Geshe who was very senior, about 10 years senior to me, extremely prolific debater, amazingly great Geshe. And I see him as very senior, of course very senior. And after a while, I know when he said for the Geshe degree. And after that, after a while, I asked him, how many years since you set for the Geshe degree? And I see him as many years passed. And he said, 10 years. So for me, 10 years, Lord. So, okay, many years passed. And then I said for my own Geshe. Then after a while, I thought it was just 5 years. Then I was talking to somebody, and I said, calculating, it's already 20 years past. 2002, how many years now? 23 years past. Time flies, because I'm in 50s. In 40s, time leaps. In 30s, time runs. In 20s, time walks. In teenager, time crawls. You're getting it? So now it's time flying. Okay. Okay. So with this, it says that Bodhisattva Arideva said that those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this teaching. Emptiness, they will not have, in the first place, they will not even meet with this teaching. Even if somebody talks about the emptiness, what is emptiness, they will leave. Then, whereas those people, what is emptiness? At least there's a sense of inquiry, sense of inquisitiveness. It comes. That will shatter your samsara into pieces. This is the way. This is one which will eventually shatter, remove all your tears, remove all the pains of samsara. This is so precious. Okay. So with this in mind, so the wisdom of emptiness is so precious. So what we discussed earlier, the earlier classes, we already laid some form of ground. Some form of ground for this. What we said is that 3 choices. 1, we're in a dream, very pleasant dream. Number 2, very scary dream. Number 3, waking up. Of the 3, which did you choose? Dodo Ondela, what did you choose? Waking up. Dodo Ondela choose waking up, and all of you agreed with Dodo Ondela. You're getting it? Waking up. Okay. Now the question is, how to wake up? How to wake up? Okay, before I go further, first let me ask you, what is the difference between, okay, let's say the Tawang, when is the hottest season of the year? Which month? August. Okay. June, July. Okay, let's say June, July, August. Okay, June, July, August, 3 months, the hottest. And then we are, see, in the class, and after this, then cleaning up for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours of hard work, and feel under the scorching sun, and no water, no juice, no chocolate cake, nothing. And you feel so thirsty, so hungry, right? And I tell that, okay, you're thirsty? Yes. I say, okay, I'm also thirsty. But you're doing something, we're not doing anything. Don't worry, I'll give you juice. Imagine the juice. Imagine juice, drink it. Right? And you'll say, what is this? Okay, so here are the real juice. And what I gave you imaginary juice. You're getting it? Now tell me, what is the difference between these 2 juices? The real juice in my right hand and the imaginary juice that you have in your, which I asked you to drink. What is the difference between these 2? Anyone? Quick. David. Imaginary juice cannot quench the thirst. Reasons? Very good. And the real juice has the capacity to quench your thirst. Very good. Okay. Next, any other differences? There are many differences. Anyone? 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 Quick, quick, quick. From what we have learned before. Okay, Sharmila ji. Imaginary juice just does not have substance, whereas this juice has a substance. Okay, anyone else? There are many differences. Hey, Anila. Hey. Now, Anila, your teacher is up there, far away, to protect you from cold. He has a little bit of cold. Okay. Sneha.
Imaginary juice is coming from the subjective mind.
Imaginary juice comes purely from your thinking. It's not real there. But the real juice is objective. Very good. Okay. Anila. Huh? You want to say this, Biggie? Say something. Yes. Huh? What's the difference? There are many differences. No, just say something. What do you think?
Imaginary juice cannot fulfill your needs, but the real juice can fulfill your needs.
Yes, exactly. Imaginary juice cannot quench your thirst, cannot fulfill your need. I want to quench my thirst, so the imaginary juice cannot help. Whereas the real juice can help. You're getting it? Very good. Okay, so from this what we've learned is that imaginary juice cannot have the power to function, to remove your hunger, cannot fulfill your needs. Whereas the real juice has that capacity. Number two, imaginary juice does not have the substance. The real juice has a substance. How many agree with this? Yes. And imaginary juice is purely subjective, what your mind thinks. The real juice is objective. You're getting it? Okay, this is very important. So for this, when you talk about emptiness, many people think that emptiness means empty. Nothing is there. This one, even the big professors make mistake. Many of the big professors, because they don't study systematically. Big professors, some professors, they just read the books and then they teach their students. So this is the way they make mistakes. So to understand emptiness properly, we have to understand dependent origination. You getting it? Okay. For this, I'd like to introduce to you, to understand emptiness, we need to first understand, first we have to go through two questions. First question, you want to note it down? Note it down. The first question is, do things exist? Do things exist? What's the answer? If you say, no, things are empty, this is nihilism. This is not the correct answer. The first question is, do things exist? And the answer should be, yes, things exist. Everything exists. Good things, bad things, Tawang, and then the Delhi, and then all the places, your parents, and the beautiful weather here, very fresh air. All this exists. We cannot deny this. And you do good things, virtues, happiness will follow. We do bad things, negative karmas, miseries happen. All these things exist. So the first question is, do things exist? What is the answer? Yes, everything exists. Only if you say, yes, everything exists, then you are entitled to go for this second question. Second question is, do things exist objectively? This is the second question. If things exist, then do things exist objectively? What's the answer? No, because everything exists subjectively like dream. Okay, the first one, if you say, do things exist? Answer is yes. If you say no, you fall into which problem? Problem of nihilism. I say, emptiness, later on you will learn, emptiness is the middle way. It's the middle way, not nihilism, not extremes. What are the two extremes? Extreme of nihilism and extreme of absolutism. Let me repeat it. Extremes, there are two kinds of extreme. Extreme of nihilism, Nihilism, nihilism. Extreme of nihilism and extreme of absolutism, Absolutism. Absolutism. Extreme of nihilism is Cheta in Tibetan. Cheta. Cheta. And extreme of absolutism is Takta. Cheta, Takta. These are two extremes. Cheta. Chata che. Lata tata. Cheta. And Takta. Okay. The Cheta. Cheta. Mautata. Is like the extreme. Ta. Chata che. Mautata. Cheta. And Takta. Ratatatatak. Mautata. Takta. Cheta. Takta. Extreme of nihilism and extreme of absolutism. So emptiness should be understood as the middle way. Umelam. Umelam in Tibetan. Umelam. Umelam. It should be the middle way, not the two extremes. Okay. To the first question, do things exist? What is the answer? Yes. If you say no, you fall into which extreme? You fall extreme of nihilism. Very good. Then to the second question, do things exist objectively? If your answer should be no. If you say yes, you fall into which problem? Extreme of absolutism. Okay. Only if you are able to answer these two questions properly. Do things exist? Answer is yes. Do things exist objectively? Answer is no. Only if you succeed in giving the answers to these questions properly, then you are entitled to go to study emptiness. Now to study emptiness, we have to first know, first, emptiness equals dependent origination. Write it down. Emptiness equals dependent origination. Emptiness equals dependent origination. Number two, dependent origination equals the middle way. Emptiness equals dependent origination. And there are different translations. Dependent arising. This is also correct. Both are correct. But you should use the word, just one, dependent origination. But you can use dependent arising also, it's fine. Emptiness equals dependent origination. Number two, dependent origination equals the middle way. Therefore, number three, emptiness equals the middle way. Let me repeat it. Emptiness equals dependent origination, number one. Number two, dependent origination equals the middle way. Middle way. Number three, therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. Okay, tell me, what is the first one? Emptiness equals dependent origination. What is number two? Dependent origination equals the middle way. Therefore, number three. Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. Very good. So first we have to prove. What's the first one? Emptiness equals dependent origination. How do you know that? How can I know that emptiness equals dependent origination? We have to first know this. Don't just take it for granted. How do you know that emptiness equals dependent origination? For that we need to know 5 points. First, emptiness. First is emptiness. Number two is emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number two, emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number three, emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number three, nothing exists independently. Number three, nothing exists independently. Number four, everything exists by dependence. Number four, everything exists by dependence. Everything exists by dependence. Number five, therefore, everything is dependently originated. Therefore, everything is dependently originated. Okay, let me first explain this. Okay, did you finish writing it? First, emptiness. Number two, is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number 3, nothing exists independently. Number 4, everything exists by dependence. Number 5, therefore, everything is dependently originated. Okay, good. So before we wind up this class, we have to say all these 5 points by heart. Ready? Right? Not ready? 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 Not ready? Okay. What is first? Emptiness. What is 2? A short form of emptiness or independent existence. What is 3? Nothing exists independently. Number 4, everything exists dependently. Number 5, therefore, everything is dependently originated. Okay, this is what you wrote. You wrote. Give it to Allah behind. Yes. Yes, she'll write it. Okay, good. Now let me explain these 5. First, when you say emptiness is not nothingness, it is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Okay, if I ask you, what is who? What will you say? What is who? Doroli. Dorla. Dorondila. What is who? Yes.
I don't have an idea.
You don't know who? Huh?
Who is he?
Who is he? Okay. Okay. Sharminaji, what is who? World Health Organization. You getting it? Yes. So, Dr. I asked Dr. La, because World Health Organization is related to doctors. So I asked him, and he's asking, who is he? Right? And Dr. Rola is asking, Dr. is saying, who is he? Right? So Dr. could not connect that with who as a short form of World Health Organization. Likewise, emptiness. It is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. You getting it? Number 2. Emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number 3. Nothing exists independently means everything exists by dependence. Number 4. Everything is by dependence means everything is dependently originated. This is how we understand emptiness equals dependent origination. Done. The first one is done. What is next? Hey, what happened? What's next? Yes. Huh? What's next? Yes, tell me. Equals? Yes. Dependent origination equals middle way. How? Again, you have to prove that. How is it that dependent origination and middle way, these two are same, these two are equal? How do you know that? For this, we need to know 2 points. For this, we need to know 2 points. Okay, number 1, dependent origination has 2 sides. Dependence and origination. There are 2 sides. The first, dependence. When we say dependent, what is the opposite of dependence? What is the opposite of dependence? Independence. Independence. So when you say dependence, it rejects the extreme of independence. Independence, absolute, they all mean the same. So when you say dependent, it rejects the extreme of independence, or it rejects the extreme of absolutism. Absolute, independent, they all mean the same. He has independent power. He has absolute power. You getting it? He's very independent. He has absolute power. So absolute and independence have the same connotation. So when you say dependent, it rejects the opposite of dependence is independence or absolutism. When you say dependence, it rejects the extreme of independence or extreme of absolutism, dependence. Now next is what? Origination. When you say origination, origination means something comes into origination. Something comes into arising. Something comes into existence. What is the opposite of existence? Non-existence, nihilism. Nothing exists, nihilism. So when you say origination, it rejects the extreme of nihilism. Dependence, it rejects the extreme of absolutism. Origination, it rejects the extreme of nihilism. Very good. Now, bringing the two together, dependent and origination, bringing the two together, rejects the two extremes. Rejecting the two extremes is following the middle way. You getting it? Therefore, dependent origination means the middle way. Okay, first, what is that? Dependence, the first part. Dependence, it rejects what? Extreme of absolutism. Origination, by origination, it rejects the extreme of nihilism. Combining the two together, bringing the two together, dependent and origin together, rejects the two extremes. Rejecting the two extremes is following the middle way. Therefore, dependent origination equals the middle way. You getting it? Now, in mathematics we say A equals B, B equals C. Therefore, A equals C. You getting it? So, my job is to tell you how A equals B and B equals C. Your job is to say, therefore, A equals C. So now I told you, emptiness equals dependent origination. Dependent origin equals the middle way. Therefore, emptiness equals middle way. Very good. Very good. Okay, so this is how we understand that emptiness is not nothingness. Emptiness is not nihilism. Emptiness is the middle way. You getting it? Emptiness is the middle way. Okay, so now we'll stop here. So next class we'll have the actual class on emptiness. Okay, we'll stop here. Tiyatavam gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhisvaha tyata om gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhisvaha tyata om gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhisvaha. Three persuasions together.